Thank God for lesbians in the band playing on. I will not be silent.
An hour ago, but things happen. Things do happen.
You're a man and you're being aggressive, and we have a baby. Please back up. Please back up.
This is a public sidewalk.
You're scaring us. Please back up.
49 years of this, America. 49 years of this. And the only thing we can do is to shout louder, to scream louder, and pretend that by our shouts we can block out the truth. We can't block it out forever.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Sean with the New Columbia Movement. Welcome back to our channel. I am back here in Washington, D.C. As you can see, since the last time I was here, it is quite a bit more crowded. Quite a bit more energy here today. So we're gonna worm our way through here and try to talk to a few people and see what is going on. Stay with us.
This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.
So can you explain kind of your sign and your collar and why you're out here today?
I'm a Unitarian Universalist minister.
Okay, what is that? I'm not super familiar with that.
So Unitarianism and Universalism are originally rooted in the Protestant faith.
Okay. And can you explain kind of like, what is it about your faith particularly that makes you so against the overturning of Roe v. Wade? I would say, what would you draw from your faith that kind of backs up your positions?
So I believe that the lives of anyone who has a uterus, and that includes our trans and non-binary beloveds, and anyone who loves anyone with a uterus, is going to be facing serious issues in the coming future, because abortions will still happen and they will not be safe and people will die. This is about healthcare, it's about people's rights, people's safety.
What do you say to the Christian denominations and the Christian churches that are adamantly anti-abortion and they base that on their Christian upbringing?
I invite them to explore reading other Bible commentaries that may hold a different point of view that is equally rooted in scholarship, that includes loving all people, including our trans and non-binary siblings, and also does not legislate anyone's body.
What books would those be?
So I think if you go back towards the Old Testament, look at the Pentateuch, if you look even, you can look in the New Testament and explore some of Paul's writings. There's space in there for liberation for everyone.
And those types of things are things that would, you talk a lot about kindness, more so towards the abortion argument though. You know, the very obvious one would be the Ten Commandments say thou shalt not kill. What do you say in response to that?
So I also believe in science and reason, and there's different ways to do theology. You can look strictly at scripture, you can look at tradition and how it relates to scripture, you can also look at reason and experience. And science informs us that we're talking about an entity that cannot survive outside of a mother's body. So I believe that it is a person's choice if they are carrying something that cannot survive outside of them. This is my personal opinion. I'm not speaking on behalf of my faith in this moment. That it is their choice to decide what happens. And there are plenty of medical reasons why some people should not be carrying a fetus to term, and those need to be honored as well.
Sure. Would you support, say, something like euthanasia of individuals who cannot survive outside of like a hospital? These would be like the deaf, blind, and dumb, the people who are relegated to hospital beds.
So I feel like we're getting into clickbait zone, so no comments.
No more comments?
No comments.
Okay, well thank you for talking to me.
Thank you.
All right, I'm here with a member who identifies with the America First movement. He's part of the kind of counter-protest today. So why don't you tell us about why you're out here and how important it is to be out here representing today?
Well, I'm out here because I think it's important to celebrate the victory of people who support Christ, who support traditional family, who support life. And it's the only way we'll be able to build America back is with traditional family, and where women will think a little harder before they lay down with men, and as well as men laying down with women before they get married. And it's important that we grow this nation from people within, and not import people from other parts of the world to grow the population of this nation. The only way we could save this nation is create Americans, and by creating Americans, we'll bring back traditionalism that made this nation great.
I recognize you from the March for Life from this year. Do you think there's going to be another March for Life? Do you think that's going to continue? And do you think that we should be going out to something like that?
Oh, absolutely, because there's plenty of states that still allow abortion.
Right.
So the murder of babies will still continue.
Right.
It's in a greater chance that we have it in the hands of the people. And I believe there are people who believe in family, who believe in the love of their children, and that is a sin against God, no matter which God that they worship, to murder their babies. And I think one state the states will fall like dominoes.
Yeah, and it really comes down to this localist movement now. States really have to be pushing these types of things. We know there's going to be certain states that are going to be very friendly to the anti-abortion movement. There's also going to be states that are going to probably take a few extra steps to ensure abortions now going forward because of this overturning of Roe v. Wade. And I think that makes the March for Life all that much more critical, because while this relegates the decision to the states, it still allows for the decision of whether or not a state can sanction genocide of the most innocent. So I think there's still quite a fight to keep going, and I encourage everybody to continue to come out to these March for Lives and honestly continue to start building up the March for Life in your own states.
I agree 100%. This is just a foundation of the battle ahead.
Yep.
Now that we have a footing, now it's time to march forward and be strong and be more vocal, because these states will fall like a heap of leaves against the fire of Christ.
Yeah, with strong Christian men at the helm, absolutely. Thanks for talking, I appreciate it.
God bless, thank you.
Thank you.
I know that bearing a child and raising a child is expensive, raising a child is time-consuming, and raising a child is a choice that women have the right to make.
You got the biggest guy here. You got the most important one here, me.
What's up, man? So you're the most important guy here. Why are you here?
I'm here to fucking party and Supreme Court and all that. I'm here for this. I'm here for everybody here. I'm here for me, and I'm here for the internet. And that's what I'm here for.
For a protest?
I'm here to party and to protest. I'm here to protest party.
What are you protesting?
I'm protesting the Supreme Court against abortion.
What did they do?
They got it wrong.
On what?
On the abortion.
What did they do wrong?
What did they do wrong? Bro, let's pull out the transcript real quick.
Let's see it.
Let's pull out the transcript. All right. Constitution, 14th Amendment. 14th Amendment.
Yeah.
We get abortion.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't aware.
I just misread because.
I'll stick the camera again. Number 14. 14? Number 14 on the constitutional cardboard.
Yeah. And then up here you can see number 1, right to life.
Right to life.
That's right.
So they're against each other. They're
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit of a contradiction.
They're gonna have to write some new stuff.
Who?
The founding fathers.
They're dead though.
We could bring them back.
You can?
I don't think I could, personally, but through the power of Jesus Christ, we could bring them back.
You think Jesus Christ would be excited to bring founding fathers back to write abortion laws?
Yes.
You religious?
Am I religious? I'm with Jesus, yes.
What does Jesus say about abortion?
What does Jesus say about abortion? Ooh, I have not asked him.
You should probably talk to him about that.
I will get on that right away.
All right, well, we'll let you get to that, and then
You have his phone number.
Yeah. I'll give it to you after the interview.
All right.
You get on that. We'll come back and talk to you later, and then you tell us what he said. All right.
All right, for sure.
All right.
Thank you.
Oh boy.
Unregulated ejaculations. Regulated ejaculations. Regulate ejaculations, and you will reduce the need for abortion.
Fuck this guy, I'm going home. No people supporting this.
Now I wish the pro-life public could come out at a moment's notice like those who wish to kill children do, but unfortunately they lack the courage. They wait for courts to do that work for them. 49 years of this horrendous barbarism.
You've drawn quite a crowd over there. Is this kind of what you expected?
Yeah. I was here when the leak happened, and it was brutal, and it's not much different. This is actually tamer.
Yeah, I was actually here the day after the leak, and it was pretty, it was the same way.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
What do you kind of expect going forward? I mean, I think it was a little bit up in the air whether or not it was actually going to come down. Now we know it did. What's going to happen going forward?
The work doesn't stop for us. You know, like, just because this is overturned doesn't mean that the states still have the rights to say if abortion is outruled or not, right? So nothing is going to change. We still have to make it, you know, give women the option that it's not, abortion isn't the option. We still have to do sidewalk counseling and ministry. We still have to do and help support communities because there's going to be sanctuary cities that are still going to allow this to take place.
Yeah, I think that the problem with the people who are pro-life, or maybe just more so on the right side of the spectrum, is I find that they have this tendency to project inaction because we have such a tendency towards inaction. We're so afraid to come out and do anything like what the left does, and I think that people need to realize that maybe the pendulum's finally shifting directions here, and this is not a time for complacency, it's a time for actually getting out and getting active.
100%, and I think the thing is that everyone is upset. You know, it's funny, like the people out here say, like, why you're out here, you know, all you do is support this, and your church doesn't do this and this and that. And I said, yeah, you're right. We're inactive. We don't do other things. We just say we vote for politicians that don't want abortion, but it's not just about voting. And I think that people forget that what we represent is what we want Christians and Catholics and other religions that say they're pro-life to start doing. Because look at this, there's like 10 of us and there's thousands of them. And this is how it is all the time, you know?
It's super unfortunate. I mean, I was walking by a Catholic church over there earlier today on my way to go get some lunch, and there were some people trying to defame essentially a pro-life sign there. And luckily, we got them to leave, but not after like just this vitriolic attack. And most people on the right are just not willing to have the fight because I think they're so attached to their materialism, and they know if they come out and they face a crowd like this, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard. And I wish I would see more people doing that. You know, we have the March for Life every year. I hope that this year we have a greater turnout at the March for Life than we ever had in the past.
I mean, the sad thing though is that we have this great turnout for March for Life, and then that's it.
Right. Yeah. Everybody comes out and they wave their banners because it's kind of a comfortable event. Except for last year, it was really cold. But but other than that, it's kind of a comfortable event, and then they can all go home and say, oh, you know, I did something.
I support it, right? And I think that's the thing is what I appreciate at least about like Jonathan Darnell is that he calls out Christians for what they need to do. You know, not just voting and praying and donating. You know, and so I get it. Like, this is uncomfortable. You know, and what did Jesus say? He's like, you know, the dead will bury the dead. Like, pick up your cross, like, and you know, we have to bear this cross, whether it's rejection, whether it's people hating us, whether it's being uncomfortable. It'd just been easier if there was more of us, you know?
Are you based here in D.C. or are you guys from somewhere else?
I'm in Northern Virginia.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things we talk about too, is now that Roe v. Wade is overturned, now the fight is a lot more localized. And it becomes, I think, really important now to really emphasize the marches in the states, to really push, especially in these red states, to get the legislation through that needs to happen. And of course, still to put pressure on the federal level, because kind of abstaining from the decision, washing your hands basically of Jesus' blood is what's happening here, and saying, well, the states can decide whether or not they have sanctioned genocide of the most innocent. We still need to keep pushing, and I hope that's that people are finally seeing that we can make an impact and that it's not the end of the world yet.
Right. And I want that, and I also I want Christian communities to be the community that steps up, and not even just about abortion. It's like, are we stepping up to really care for the other, right? Because the reason I think that abortion is still coexisting is because there's this notion of like, I can't care for my child and I feel like my community won't, right? And so I think they go hand in hand, right? So it's like, what else are we doing just outside of that so that we're supporting life even after birth?
And the left is good at that too. I mean, despite the tendencies of it being a rather degenerate culture, they do have community. They come together and they organize these events really easily.
Right.
And Christians need that. I mean, they need a home base because it's not that we need to retreat from the world and then not represent our values, and it's not that we need to, ride roughshod solo into the fray, but we need to have that home base of a good Christian community. And if you don't have one, you need to find people you can start building it with.
Absolutely. I agree.
Well, thank you very much for talking with me. Hopefully don't stay out too late because who knows what happens when the sun goes down.
Be careful, yes.
Okay, so as you guys saw, it was a pretty big turnout today. There was a moderate, I would say, counter demonstration by pro-lifers, but really it's few and far between. The majority of people out here are obviously in support, pro-choice, and they're upset and angry about the fact that Roe v. Wade was overturned. Cope and seethe on the one hand, but on the other hand, why is the right not organizing like this? I think finally we have the institutional support, as small as it might be, to finally start swinging the pendulum in the other direction, and we need to seize the opportunity to do so. If we're not taking advantage of building communities and coming out and representing our values on the day-to-day, then we're not going to win the culture fight. We're just not. If you look at behind me, I mean, the left has no problem getting out and getting organized and actually taking action. So why aren't we? So let's start working together. The fight doesn't stop here. It's just beginning. Start looking at your states, organizing pro-life marches, and coming to the pro-life march in D.C. The fight is not stopped. It's just begun. Thanks.
Numbers 5, 11, 31, God prescribes an abortion. Numbers 5, 31, God prescribes an abortion.
My fucking choice.
Make the sentence. Your choice to do what?
That's right.
The choice to do what? The choice to do that.
Get the abortion pill. Where are you getting the abortion pill? Get the abortion pill. I will also do that because it's my